Hello! So today I wanted to talk about anxiety. One of the reasons I'm doing these videos is to practice talking and speaking and getting comfortable with communicating and getting over the fear of just talking and letting my voice be heard. And also exposing myself to criticism and putting my videos out there and being okay with people seeing them. Even though not a lot of people are watching them right now, or I may never have like a large audience, but that's okay. This is mostly just me practicing because I want to get good at speaking in front of people and teaching. I really want to be a teacher, and I want to be able to, in a live environment, whether it's a place like Lightbox Expo or in just a classroom environment, be able to talk to people and be comfortable just letting my words flow out and not getting so tongue-tied. So that's what I'm working on with these videos, is just a stream of consciousness, as if I were standing in front of my students and having to deliver lectures or instruct them in what to do when they're working on their art. So that's sort of the intro to this. What I want to talk about is anxiety. When I think about anxiety, I think about fear of the unknown. It's not always a fear of the unknown. It's also could be something you know is going to happen. For example, I know that when I tell this person what I'm going to tell them, that they're going to be upset. But the main thing is it's a fear of the future. You're out of the present moment. You're not in the present moment. You're thinking about the future when you're anxious. You're thinking about what's going to happen. How am I going to feel? And I would bet that a lot of the times when something bad happens, it's not as bad as you thought it was going to be. Or if it is, you handled it a lot better than you thought you were going to. So with anxiety, its most sinister manifestation is that it prevents you from doing things. And what I found was that when my anxiety was at its worst, or rather when I didn't have the tools to deal with my anxiety, and when it kept me from doing all of the things I love doing, like being too anxious to draw because I might make a mistake, being too anxious to leave the house because, I don't know, I might get mugged or something silly. And a lot of times it's not rational. And even just what I find is very helpful is journaling, because it takes that unknown and makes it a known. I'm going to come back to that. I want to just say, when my anxiety was at its worst, I was also depressed. And I don't think I was chemically depressed or anything. I think what it was that my anxiety was so bad it was preventing me from doing all the things that make life meaningful. So one way to diagnose for yourself if anxiety or depression is the real problem, you can ask yourself, if I didn't have anxiety, would I still be depressed? And what I found for me when I asked myself that question is, no, if I didn't have anxiety, I would be able to do the things I'd want to do, and I'd feel free, and I wouldn't be so afraid of talking to people. And it's that fear of talking to people, that fear of talking on the phone with someone, that fear of confrontation that gave me such feelings of negative self-worth, that I didn't like myself and that I wasn't valuable because I was like a coward, and that I wasn't good at talking to people, and I felt weak and powerless, and I was believing all those thoughts, and so I felt depressed. But if I didn't have that anxiety, I wouldn't have felt so depressed. Now, the other part of that equation was my self-talk, which was when I gave into that anxiety and that fear, that I would then bully myself, and I would be like, you're a pussy, you're a wimp, and then like other negative thoughts like, nobody likes you, you're not a real man, all that stuff, all those negative thoughts. I think the first step would actually be to change your self-talk, so that when you encounter anxiety and you don't overcome the anxiety, that you can be gentle with yourself and say, okay, all right, that didn't go the way I wanted it. I would have liked to overcome that fear, but I didn't. I'm not happy with that result, but I know that beating myself up about it and calling myself names is not going to help me get to my goal, which is overcoming the anxiety. You need to ask what's going to help you to overcome your anxiety. And what might help you is saying, all right, what's a smaller step I could take? Maybe confronting my boss on this issue is too much. Maybe that's too big of a step. Maybe I could practice just saying hi to somebody on the street. Maybe when I talk to someone next, I can just practice maintaining eye contact rather than looking down at the floor. Maybe I could just practice walking down the street with my shoulders back, standing straight up, rather than hunched over. Maybe I practice putting my phone away when I'm talking to someone, because I get to like escape into my phone. Or when I'm in public, maybe instead of being hunched over looking at my phone, maybe I'm just looking around at people. That's something that Jordan Peterson talks about, is just looking at people is a great way to start solving your social anxiety, because when you're socially anxious, you're going to look down and you're going to be like, you're going to be all in your own head, and you're thinking, what are people thinking about me? I look so stupid. Everybody hates me. I gotta leave. I can't be here anymore. And then you freak yourself out. So what you want to do is look around at other people. So I just wanted to touch on that relationship between depression and anxiety and how those relate to each other. So I did just want to say a helpful activity for me, and this is one I continue to promote in all of my videos, is journaling. Journaling is a great way to get those thoughts out of your head and onto paper. Anxiety is worst when it's in your head and it feeds on uncertainty. So a lot of times the best thing to ask yourself is, what's the worst case scenario? So you have to go to a job interview. What's the worst case scenario? Because anxiety is just going to feed on, it's going to feed on something terrible is going to happen. Something terrible is going to happen. But it doesn't know what. It's just something terrible is going to happen. But as soon as you say what that something terrible is, it's not so bad. For example, job interview. What's the worst thing that could happen? You don't get the job. What's the worst thing that could happen? Maybe they don't like you. The worst thing that could happen, they call you an idiot for even showing up. Or they criticize the outfit you wore. Or you get stuck in traffic and you're late. Or you call the interviewer by the wrong name. Or something like that. That would be the worst case scenario. And then as soon as you write those down, it's like, a lot of times it's going to be, that would be bad. That would be embarrassing. That would be really hard if that happened. Don't invalidate the emotion. It's okay to feel sad about, yes, that would be a hard thing to deal with if you said the wrong thing. And then what you want to say is, but then what? You want to ask, and then what? And then you'd be fine, right? In the end, you'd be fine. It'd be difficult, it'd be challenging, and in the end, you would be fine. A lot of times you just want to keep questioning and keep questioning. So in addition to the worst case scenario exercise, you say, you take a thought, such as, no one likes me. That's your thought? Okay, no one likes me. And then you could say, well, why do I think that? You could ask for evidence of that. Why do I think people don't like me? Oh, because no one said hi to me when I went into class. Okay, well, did you say hi to anybody? No. Did you indicate that you would like to be addressed, or did you have your phone down? You could say, what evidence do I have for the people not liking me? And what evidence do I have against that? Is it possible that you're just misinterpreting the facts? Maybe people would love to get to know you, but you're not giving them the chance. Maybe your anxiety is manifesting as anger, and you put on a face to drive people away. Like a lot of times when I'm walking down the street, I'm so anxious that I put on a face. I don't smile like this, and I don't look at people like this. I'm just staring straight ahead, and I'm looking at my phone, or I'm listening to something, and I've got this really intense look on my face, and I've got my eyes narrowed, and I'm frowning, and I might be have my shoulders down more, and I might have a slight furrow in my brow, and I'm I've got this very serious stoic look on my face. And it's not because I don't want to interact with people, it's just that I'm afraid of what might happen. So you want to look at what you're doing that might make other people hesitant to interact with you. And the other thing is, the other exercise you can do, in addition to looking at what your own behaviors are that are maybe contributing to you thinking that other people don't like you, would be to you keep questioning. And this is what I was trying to state before, but I ended up going on this other tangent. You keep questioning. I'm going to try to think of an example. What's the worst case scenario? Would be that I say something stupid. And then you go, and then what? Well, if I say something stupid, then they wouldn't like me. Then you go, and then what? And then I'd feel bad. And then what? Well, then I wouldn't like myself. And then what? Then I'd feel even worse. And then what? And then I'd start to feel better, right? And then I'd be fine. So you keep doing this, and eventually the answer is always, you're fine. You go through a lot of, well, it would feel really sad. I'd feel bad. I might cry. And then I'd be fine. So, basically, to sum up this video, anxiety feeds on the unknown, and it's reliant on you thinking ahead into the future. Now, a lot of common advice is like, just don't think about the future, stay in the present moment. I don't know that that's helpful. I think it's much more manageable. Well, because when people tell you not to think about something, that's the first thing you think about. So if someone tells you, hey, don't think about the future, don't be anxious, it's like, of course you're going to be anxious, because that's the first thing you're going to think about, is you're going to think about the future. First thing, when someone tells you, don't think about the future, or don't worry about that. That doesn't help you. What might help you is to say, do think about the future, think about the worst case scenario. Think about what could go wrong, and then seriously think about it. And question it. Go past something bad might happen. Don't stop there. Don't let anxiety just get you into something bad might happen, I'm not going to do it. No, go into something bad might happen. What specifically might happen? And then what would happen after that? And then what would happen after that? And get to the place where either you're dead or you're fine. Because sometimes the result is, I'm just going to throw this as an aside. Sometimes the worst case scenario is like, they might get so angry that they shoot me. That might be your anxiety. If your anxiety is really bad, you might have a sometimes rational, sometimes not fear that it ends up with you dying. For example, like if you go up in an airplane, right? There's a 1 in, I don't know, say 1 in, it's higher than this, but say 1 in 1,000. Obviously that's, way more often than it is. But say there's 1 in 1,000 chance that you die when you go up in an airplane. So your anxiety might say, I might die. And then you just got to go past that and say, well, if I died, well, I'd be dead, so it'd be fine. So just throwing that out there. The result isn't always, it would be fine. The result is sometimes just, you're dead. And that would also be fine. So anyway, that's a silly tangent, but it might come up. So that's why I wanted to mention it. The biggest thing you can do for your anxiety is progressive overload. So take on a little small challenge. Say, today I'm going to walk to the end of my driveway. And that's scary because people might see me. And they might look at me. And they might judge me. And they might think I look stupid, and they might think I look fat, and they might think I look gay, or something, and they might have a problem with that. Or anything like that. Small steps. So maybe today you go to the end of your driveway in the morning, and that's scary because there might be people. And then maybe the next day you go a few steps more. Or maybe you just wave to someone. And then maybe the next day you look at the person that you pass on the street. And then maybe the next day you can smile at them. But basically, do what you can do and then gradually try to ratchet it up. And if you feel like you've pushed too far in your anxiety and you tried to conquer your anxiety and you failed to do that, That's okay. Don't beat yourself up. Instead, what you want to do is say, okay, it was too much for me to try to confront my brother on this issue. So maybe I'm going to step that back. I'm going to say, okay, not right now. That can be in a couple years or a year from now. I think I could do that. But tomorrow I'm just going to call a friend on the phone and talk to them because talking on the phone makes me nervous. So that's the challenge. Just try to keep taking on little challenges that you can manage, and that's going to be the way to progressively overcome your anxiety. And that can be applied to anything. It's just exposure therapy. So if you're afraid of elevators, you look at pictures of elevators, then you maybe touch an elevator, and then maybe you get on the elevator, but you don't go up, you just step in and you step out. And then maybe you go up a floor, and then maybe you go up 2 floors. And so you're gradually exposing yourself to that fear. Just the most important thing I can say is go easy on yourself. That doesn't mean you're babying yourself. It's just recognizing that it doesn't help to beat yourself up and to judge yourself, especially against other people. Because with anxiety, a lot of times it's hard to do the normal stuff. It's hard to do, or the normal stuff, that going out to a party is, for some people, it's like, that's easy. That they don't even think about it. But for people with social anxiety, for people who struggle with crowds, it's really scary to go to a party. So don't judge yourself against the people who like going to a party is really normal for them and easy. Just compare yourself to yourself and say, okay, maybe I just watch a video of a party. And then maybe I think about going to a party. And then maybe I go for 5 minutes. And then maybe I talk to one person. So keep taking those small steps, and that's going to be the best thing you can do. And don't be mean to yourself. Don't bully yourself because you think it's going to help. It doesn't help. It doesn't help to bully yourself. You can be encouraging. That doesn't mean you're babying yourself and saying, oh no, you just don't ever try to do anything scary. No, you want to try to do scary things. Do scary things. Please. That's the only way you're going to conquer your anxiety. Just take it at your own pace and do a little bit at a time. Don't bully yourself, but also don't just let your anxiety go unquestioned, okay? The best thing you can do is to overcome your anxiety is going to be to not let yourself get too comfortable. Comfort is a trap, but so is going from 0 to 100, okay? So get a little bit uncomfortable every day. Get a small victory in conquering your anxiety every day, and you're going to start to get that momentum, and it's going to seem less scary, and you're going to overcome your anxiety if you keep taking those small steps. Now, me personally, I have not 100% overcome my social anxiety, but it's a lot better. It's like 50% better than it was 5 years ago. So I'm confident that if I keep working on, like with these videos, this video might not seem like a big deal to someone. Hey, you're just making a video. But for me, it's a big deal. So I'm going to keep taking these small steps to overcome my anxiety, and I hope you guys do the same. And I think if we all work on conquering our anxiety together, we're going to get someplace where life is a lot better and we're not controlled by fear. We're going to feel free from anxiety. That's the goal. Okay, so with that said, I love you guys, and I hope you guys this week just pick one little thing every day that you can just conquer some little fear. It doesn't have to be big, just some little fear. But that's all. So have a wonderful week, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.